Kakalosh Boker Tov, Shavua Tov. We're just going to continue with the halachot of what we mentioned. Amira Legoy. We were when a goy comes and he lights, so he turns on a light for himself. So we said that once the goy is doing it for his own accord, so then we are allowed to benefit from it. And not only are we allowed to benefit from it, even after he left the room or he left the vicinity, we are still allowed to benefit from it. Even if we know or we know the goy, we're also allowed to benefit from it. We're not going to suspect the next time you're going to come and ask him to do it for you because he did it on his own accord. And another thing is that also you could tell him not to turn it off, which means that you could just say, please do not, because you're telling him not to do a melacha. Other people just say, you could just say, leave the things the way that it is, status quo, and don't tell him or don't speak about it. But you could tell him, right, it is brought down in some of the Acharonim that you're actually allowed to tell him, do not turn off the light. Please do not turn it off. Another halacha is, what happens now if the goy does not do it for himself, but he does it for a chole or for a katan? Which means that, let's say the goy is going to turn on the light for a chole shebo sakana. So the halacha here states that if a goy is going to turn on the light for a chole, which is not a sakana, so you're allowed to benefit from it. Why? Since lechatechila you could tell the goy to turn on a light for a chole shebo sakana, so now everybody else, not only the chole, everybody else are also allowed to benefit. Why? Ner lecha, ner lemea. The general concept is as long as once he turned on the light, it's one candle for one person or for 100 people, so then it's the same halacha. We're talking about the second that he turned on the lights, right? There's nothing different. So therefore, everybody is allowed to benefit from this light because it's all the same benefit. It's not that he had to cook more, right, or not. For example, the same halacha applies to shechita. Let's say the goy had to do shechita for a person that's sick, right? So he comes and obviously the goy is not going to do the shechita. Let's say he had to actually, or the Jew had to do shechita but now when it has to do with a Jew, it has to be a chole sheyesh bo sakana. So let's say a Jew comes and he does shechita for a chole sheyesh bo sakana. There is a danger to his life. The second that he does the shechita, everybody's allowed to benefit from this meat. Why? Because the shechita, one shechita permits the entire animal. So like you can do shechita for different parts of the animal. The second that one was not, everything's permitted. Now the cooking is a problem because the cooking, right, if he's going to cook, maybe they're going to make more, right? They're going to add more and then the other people are going to benefit. That's different to do with the cooking. Because there's a concept that you could add more and then the marbebi shurim, which is additional of the cooking, might be a problem. However though, when we're talking about something that is not additional, for example, turning on and off the light, right? They're going to open up the door, whether it's of an airplane or take down the ramp. That was the case of the Gemara, taking down the ramp, right, by the sea, by the boat, taking all these things, which is one concept that it's not that you could add on to it. For one person and for 10 people, it's going to be the exact same halacha. So therefore, it's going to be permitted. The same halacha would be if you're going to do it for a child. Remember that little children are considered chole shebo sakana. And therefore, if a goy will turn on a light for a child, right? So therefore, everybody else is allowed to come and they're allowed to benefit as well. However, though, here he says that when we're talking about that the goy was going to turn on the light for a child, it has to mean that the child is crying a lot, and he's obviously we're talking about younger children because older children are not considered chole shebo sakana, right? Or older people as well, the elderly, right? Again, we're talking about very elderly that they're also considered like chole shebo sakana. So in all those cases, also once it was done beheter, once it was done in a permissible form, now the Jews are allowed to benefit from it because it was done permissibly. Wonderful day.